Hey guys, welcome back to this Madara tutorial. Let's just talk about what we did last time. We just went over what exactly we're going to be doing for this series, and so now in this next video I'm just going to be explaining the basics of the editor, Piskel, which is a drawing editor, and how to just like get familiar with these tools. So let's start with some ground stuff. I'm sure that a lot of you guys are wondering what exactly is Madara, and ooh, look at that. You guys saw my secret. I'm just going over these things. But yeah, what exactly is Madare? Let's talk about that. So, Madare is a procedural programming language that uses a set of instructions written in JavaScript object notation, which is called JSON, and in order to just carry out some tasks. So now you might be wondering, okay, now I gotta define what procedural programming is. So we'll just call it a procedural language. So this is basically a language, programming language that carries out tasks in which are written in blocks, similar to Scratch. If you guys have heard of Scratch, Scratch is basically I'll put a link right here, scratch.mit.edu, and this is basically just it's a free to use programming language community that's really similar to mod.io, but they don't have multiplayer games. So that's why you guys are here. Some cool multiplayer game development. So now that we've defined what exactly mod.io is, let's just get into the editor. So once you guys have logged in, make sure you create an account, and then once you create an account, you're going to be put out the landing page right here, and you're going to go to create, and you want to click create new game. So right here, you'll be left with a bunch of templates, and you might be wondering, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff to check out. But I'll leave that to you guys on your own time. What we're going to be using in this tutorial a lot is a blank template because I want to be showing you guys how to make these things that we're going to be working with from scratch. So let's use this template right away. I'm just going to call it test 1 for today, or just test, and any region is fine. Oh boy, I'm sure you guys have that problem too. Let me just really quick remove something. Mm, I'll just get rid of this. Okay, so now we can create a new game, and you can just use this template real quick. Any region, as I said, call it test. Just create a new game, and look at that. So yeah, while it's loading, there's a lot of unique components to the mod.io engine. Basically, it's gonna look like you're immediately just able to play your game, because it's gonna straight up connect you to the game. So what you'll see is I just created a blank template, and it put me in a grassy world where I can look around with my mouse, and if I use WASD, so WASD, then I can move around. So for example, you'll see that I can go up, I can go to the right, go down. Uh, oh, my key got stuck. Sorry about that. But yeah, so you have a lot of control over your movements in the game, and it's just really nice. So now let's talk about using some of the components of this editor. You'll see up here that there's a play button, a map button, entities, UI, and report. So let's not talk about report too much, but basically this map section allows you to edit the map. So you'll see right here, I'm right clicking. If you right click, then you can move around. And if you zoom in or out by just zooming in or out your mouse, you can toggle how far away from the map's visibility you are. And now you'll see down here, there's a little tiny editor, but you might be wondering how you reach such tiny stuff. Well, again, you can zoom in. What I like to do is I zoom in kind of close, and then I right click to move around. So then you can get to everything you need to get to. Right, so for this map, we're not gonna be doing too much. I'm just gonna show you guys what these layers do. So floor two right here, let's just add a couple pieces of dirt here and there, and then some stuff here. And so you'll see these are like two splotches I made on floor two. So basically what this does is floor two is just like floor, but it's a layer above it. So maybe you want maybe a transparent thing. So see the circular thing? If I put this on top, right, on top of this grass thing, you still see grass below it. And so it's just a layering thing. Walls. Walls is anything that players can collide with. So I'll just put a couple of these things, and then I'll show you guys in the edit in the game in a second, as well as trees. So trees are basically things you can hide underneath. So I'm not gonna use the actual trees. I'm gonna I'll just use this random asphalt. So let's just make these four, and this is something that I can hide underneath because it's above the layer of players. So now if I just go ahead and click play, see I'm in this game, and now I can go over here. I'm walking on top of the floor, and I can go underneath this layer, which is pretty cool. And you saw that my name actually got hidden when I went underneath, which is really convenient if you want to hide. And then right here, you can see I can go over this one, but I cannot go through this. I'm kind of stuck. And you see my player's kind of jiggling to try to get through it, but I can't. So that's basically the layers of the map and how they work. Now let's talk about some of this editor stuff. So you'll see right here immediately there's a world section, there's units, items, and projectiles. So let's go one by one. Projectiles are basically things that you can fire out of items. Items are things that can be consumable, usable, non-usable. Just things that units can hold. Units are anything from players to furniture. It's just whatever your game needs as a permanent thing. So items are things that are held by units, and projectiles are things that are maybe fired out by items. And units basically tie them all together by maybe using items and the items firing the projectiles. Right here we have the world, and it's consisting of the environment, player types, dialogues, and shops. So let's just get through this real quick. Environment is consisting of global variables, regions, attributes, entity variables, and a whole lot of other stuff. But I'll leave some things like music and sounds to your guys' own exploration because they're not that hard to use. If you guys need help, do come to the Moderator Discord. We've always it's been it's a lot of help for a lot of people. And right here we got player types. So you'll see that there's a lot of tabs open. You can keep it clean by closing a couple if you want. So player types are basically we're gonna have a further video discussing all the types, but player types are basically just ways to indicate certain types of players, like humans or NPCs. And then right here we have dialogues and shops. We'll also have videos on those later. And so yeah, this is basically editor. It's good to get familiar. You'll notice that right here, there's scripts that are 4 here, but 3 here. So these are world scripts. So if I open this up, you're going to see all the scripts that pertain to the world itself. So when the game starts, player joining, player leaving. But you'll see that if I open these 4 scripts, these are scripts that only pertain to this homie, this unit. So units are basically types of players. So you'll see like stop, start, and picking up items, dropping items. So yeah, those are ways to organize scripts. You can have world scripts or you can have scripts pertaining to specific entities. So entities consist of units, items, projectiles. Right. So I might have thrown a lot at you guys from this section. So I do recommend you guys go back and just watch it again if it's kind of confusing. But right here, I'm not going to show this too much, but this is UI. So this is kind of title screen, how your game looks. So I'm going to let you guys figure out how this works because it's pretty well labeled. You see dialogues, you see input models. So these are things that we're going to cover in the future. So as long as you understand what exactly a dialogue is, what exactly input model is, I'm sure you guys will be able to understand what this code is saying. But if you guys do have trouble with this, there is this website on the internet. It's called W3 Schools, and I do recommend this website right here, w3schools.com. And they have a lot of web tutorials. You can see they teach HTML and other kinds of stuff. And now let's get to our next part of the tutorial where we talk about Piskel. So Piskel is basically a free online sprite editor, as you can see by the name. And once you get here, you'll see that you can just create some sprites. So let's just get straight into it. What we can do is you'll see that we're left with this editor. We have two colors that we can choose from. We have some layering options right here, and we have some transformations. So let's say I want to draw this line, and maybe it's some stick, right? If I want this to be reflected, so maybe I realized, oh, I actually want this to look something like that on the other side. What I can do is I can click this thing, and it'll flip it horizontally. And if I hold down Alt and I do it again, it'll flip it like that. So you can just kind of play around with this, and it's a pretty fun tool. You see right here, you have rotation that you can move your things around with. You have clone, which basically just takes this frame and puts it on another, all the other frames. So let's say I do this, and I want to put this frame on every single one. I just go to this one and I press the sheep, and now everybody's everywhere. And you might have noticed this thing was flickering right here on the side. This is basically just the animation of what's going on. So we'll get into animations later, so we'll discuss this later. But right here, you can toggle how fast it goes. You can put it to 0 if it's bugging you. Alright, so this is a lot of the terminology that we wanted to discuss that pertains to mod.io and some tools that you might find really useful to use throughout your development. So I hope that this video was a great help to just getting familiar with the editor and stuff like that. So I'll see you guys in the next video where we start some triggers.